Hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to another edition of the FutureSox podcast. My name is Ian Eskridge. Joining me over here is Mr. James Fox. How are you, James?
Good, man. What's going on?
Watching some good baseball ish.
Well, you have a lot going on. So, for people that don't know how much work this man does, he had 8 minor league games on Saturday, and most of them were bad. But you have highlights for all of them. So, congrats to everybody who cares.
Yeah, they went 2-6 yesterday in the 4 doubleheaders. 4 of the 8 starters got knocked out in the first inning or less. It was supposed to be a joyous day having 8 minor league games, and they did their best to aggravate me.
And I don't care that much, obviously, about the minor league records, but when you have important guys go out in the first inning, it's kind of an issue. You have and look, I'm not worried about Higgins Smith or anything. I mean, it's going to happen, but it's just unfortunate. You have Higgins Smith, and you have in low A you had Luis Reyes go down early. For anybody that doesn't know, what is it, 35 pitches usually? So usually
yeah.
35-ish pitches in one inning is like a no-go in the White Sox system, and that's carried over into the Bannister era. This was a thing before, and it kind of still is. If you have a 30-some pitch inning, you're pretty much done for the evening.
Yeah, there's also, and I'm just gonna say, some people, some people on our staff, I had mentioned that Bockenstedt was probably going to be starting in Winston, and I had heard, oh, why is he starting? Why are they not starting, like Jake Peppers or something? And I was like, to be fair, Bockenstedt was really good until he tailed off last year. So let's see what he's got again. And if they're putting him back in the rotation, obviously he must have shown them something in the spring. So fast forward through 2 starts, and he's looked really, really good. Today he looked awesome. But here's my issue: he had 50 pitches through 5 innings, and then they took him out. Like, just because he had 5 innings. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing that?
Right. I don't know if they had to did relievers go one inning each after him or no.
Yeah,
I
I
wonder
think
if it was
so.
something where this guy gets the 6th, this guy gets the 7th, which is also kind of ridiculous. But I mean, even part of me with the pitch limit stuff, right? You always a little bit cynical, kind of think oh, are they gonna pull them after 35 pitches once they're in the big leagues? And of course that answer is no, right? So it's kind of that whole oh, they need to learn type of thing. But if it is related to injury prevention, essentially, that's generally why they do it. But I always kind of wonder if it is pointless or not.
That's my question is, there's still not any concrete proof to this point that shows that there's more injuries if they were to go back to the way things used to be, where they just let a guy die out there.
Right.
I think the thought that, like what they were doing with Schultz and Smith and Taylor, where they're giving them a limited amount of ups and downs, like throughout a game, like that I could see, where you take 20 minutes off for a long inning and then you go to come back out for the 6th. I could see why they wouldn't let you do that. But if you're sitting at 60 pitches after 5 innings, like, why are we pulling them out? Like, in Major League Baseball, they're not going to pull you with 65 pitches if you're through 5 innings,
Right. Even though we can have that discussion too, because I think there's a guy that pitched today in the big leagues that both of us really liked, that might warrant a bit of a conversation, just about usage, I think, in Shane Smith.
Yeah, I guess we could still look at this and say, hey, well, it's still early in the season, and if you want to try and conserve those innings to allow them to still have their stuff come August and not feel completely worn down, I can understand that. I guess we wait to see how this plays out through the rest of the year. But I mean, we have a year under Bannister already, and they kind of tend to baby the guys a little bit anyway. So is this just a
Well, they definitely do with the guys off injury. And it seems like with like a high school pick, right? Like, because my thing is like obviously Hagen did not have a good outing, right?
No.
But I don't think there's anything stopping that dude from throwing 7 innings if his command is in line. Like, I don't think they're gonna rush to, you know, end Hagen Smith's night at 5 innings, right? He might walk a ton of people and be done himself, right? But as like this college starter who has all these innings under his belt, he's much different than what they did with Schultz and even what they're doing with Taylor, like because of the injuries, basically. I mean, look at a guy like, like a guy like Tyler Schweitzer. They never babied him. Like he just like goes out and chucks. Mason Adams did the same thing and all these other guys. So, I think it kind of just depends.
Yeah, I mean, I with Schweitzer, it'd be the same thing though. If he goes out and throws 35 pitches or whatever in an
Yeah, they're
inning,
pulling him. Yeah,
they're still going to pull him.
they are.
And
Yeah.
like they still only let him go 5 innings. Like the other day, he was cruising, and he had what 8 strikeouts through 5 innings.
Yeah.
Still pulled him.
Did they go to the closer in that? So his piggyback is 5 innings then after the Taylor three, and then they still want to go to a reliever.
Yep, looks that way.
So when Adams did it, did he ever finish?
No, he didn't.
No. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's just been a thing
So
for a while.
it's the same thing. So it's a planned like 5 inning start. I don't love that. I mean, look, I think Tyler Schweitzer can handle it, and I think he's a good complement. Um, but to me, with some of the injuries and some of the issues, like in Charlotte, and especially like guys like Iriarte, like not being particularly great right now, I think there's an outside chance that Tyler Schweitzer could pitch in the big leagues like this year. So, I just kind of think like limiting him to 5 innings every turn doesn't make a ton of sense. Because he could throw in theory, he could throw like 130 innings in the minors this year if he wanted to, so they might as well
Yep.
let him.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I don't see if a guy is doing his thing. I don't see why we're pulling him. Like to me, that's limiting their success and not letting them work through these things, and instead making it so there is a ceiling to where they get to where they just get tired. And to me, that seems counterproductive. I just shout this out here.
Yeah, Trey, awesome.
Trey
Thanks,
Williams
man.
with the super chat. Thank you, sir. Yes. Hey, we got 3 wins in the minors, AAA and Major League Baseball, not so good.
Yeah.
But
The big league team was fun this weekend though, because Boston is pretty good, and that's they got good pitching performances from probably the two guys who are the most probably going to be consistent in Perez and Mason Adams, or Perez and Davis Martin. Um, then Shane Smith did Shane Smith things for a couple of innings. So, I don't know when you were like going to get into the big league team. But just like the Shane Smith thing, right? So a revelation, and we can answer the question somebody asked about why the Brewers got rid of him. He's pretty good, right? I think you have to just keep letting him start, obviously, and there were reasons why the Brewers maybe didn't think he could start, but he has had issues in 3 starts now, third time through the order, right? So if you're the White Sox, do you just keep pitching him and kind of even if he melts down, you just deal with it, or do you kind of treat it like the Rays maybe would treat it and try to get him out before the third time through? I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see, because even if he's awesome for 5 innings every turn, that's still more useful than throwing him in the bullpen or something. But I think some of these teams, that were cutting edge years ago, right? It's the Rays pulled what the Rays will pull guys after 5 innings in a playoff game because they don't want them to go through the third time. You know what I mean? So I think it's just going to be interesting to see if it's just a hiccup for him, or if that's a legit thing and this is just kind of what he is, because it's only 3 starts. We don't really know very much.
yeah, I definitely want to see what happens as the weather gets warmer here, and these guys are able to kind of feel a little bit more into the game because they're not dealing with the outside elements as much. To see where this goes. But as you mentioned, you let them go. I mean, they're pulling everybody in the minors at 5 innings, so I wouldn't be surprised if they continue doing that in the majors unless it's a guy like a Martin Perez or somebody
Well,
that's
they'll just
used to
let
going deep.
they'll let Rubber Arm Cannon go too if he's not bad. You know what I mean? Like some of the times he's just done because of his pitch count or whatever. It doesn't really seem like they care that much about him either. They're just like, yeah, he's rubber armed, he's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of my feeling on Cannon. Basically, since I've seen him pitch, is he's a back end guy. He could have some really, really dominant games, but like I wouldn't call him an ace
Oh
and
no.
expect him to pitch early in a playoff series.
Yeah, I think he's a number 5 starter. I mean, I think we've kind of said that pretty consistently. Like, I wasn't shocked that Cannon got to the majors quickly, but the ceiling is just limited, you know. So,
Yeah.
there
To
there
answer,
was sorry, yeah,
what's
there
that?
was a question about I don't remember who asked it. The question about Shane Smith and why the Brewers let him go. We can get into
Yeah.
that.
So more or less, what the Brewers did was when they moved him to AAA, they put him into a bullpen role, and I think they wanted to have him be like a long man out of the pen. And I think that that's probably why they didn't keep him on. But I've seen a bunch of Brewers fans who are mad about the guy that they did keep and put on the 40 man,
Yeah.
letting him walk. And this was like right as the Rule 5 was happening. So it's not just sour grapes recently within the last couple of weeks. This is like
Yeah, some of
a
them
while ago.
knew it. Yeah. So two things. He didn't have this changeup. Um and he wasn't throwing 96 to 99. Like he just wasn't. Like he threw hard, but like his stuff just got better. And there was something written, God, it might have been one of the Sox Machine guys, I don't remember, but where it said that essentially like Ethan Katz had a conversation with him over the phone and they like changed his changeup grip like right after they acquired him. And then he showed up to camp and his bullpens are just disgusting. And they were like, oh my God. Like, cause I think Getz even admitted it. He said, yeah, we thought he was pretty good, but we didn't think like we were getting this. I mean, we're not that smart type of thing.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like the seam affected changeups that they have these guys working with are really doing a number
Yes.
on their value.
And their elbows, by the way, is what it seems like. But no, that was speculation. I'm sorry. That was mean. We
That
don't
is
know. We
speculation.
can't, we can't. Jeff Passan wrote an entire book on this thing. And the conclusion was we have no idea.
Objection.
Yeah. Overruled. Yeah. It's fine.
To answer Vince's other question, how's Elko's start been? So
Fine.
he hasn't hit that arbitrary number of having to hit 400 yet, so he's still in the minor leagues. He's only hitting 375.
Yeah.
And he's taking walks and not striking out as often.
Yeah. My goodness.
I don't really know what to say about him other than I enjoy his game and he's better defensively than Vaughn, and
Yeah.
they
Well,
seem pot committed.
we
So
kind of talked about this though, right? Like they're paying Andrew Vaughn $5 million. They're not going to cut bait yet, even though, look, this is why I would have cut bait though, because he stinks. And like if you just played Lenny and Sosa at first base, and Lenny and Sosa also stinks, right? It's not that hard to move on from him because he makes nothing, right? And then Elko's up, right? But now, like for that to happen, you literally have to move on from Vaughn, right? And it's really easy for you and I to be like, oh yeah, just get rid of him. But like they're not gonna do that yet. So Elko's kind of stuck because you've kind of seen how they've used the DH spot. Like they want to mix it around.
yeah, I'm not a fan, but it is what it is. I don't know what to say at this point. It's
Yeah.
we're stuck. I don't
What
know.
did I need more info from Trey. What did I say? Did I say the Rule 5 is stupid or I love the Rule 5 draft. I just think like you never get anybody out of it. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't
But I
know.
guess when you pick one and you pick the right guy, it's great. I'm just so used to them like Trey, I'm used to doing a ton of research on the Rule 5 draft and like write up 10 guys and I'm like this guy could really help the Sox, and then at the end of spring training they like give him back to the other team and then I never hear from him again. But this time is not like that, obviously.
Yeah. This time they seem to have done some good research and been able to find something that they could do to said player to make them so they are what they think that they could be, even better, possibly.
Yeah, and he's like a big horsey horse too. Like my goodness, is he? He's just like, and the thing is, like he was undrafted out of Wake Forest only because he got hurt and decided that must be like a family with some money, right? Because he just like out of Wake Forest is like, yeah, I'll sign undrafted. It's fine, right? And guys don't usually do that if they can go back. He was clearly good enough to be taken. He was just like kind of forgotten about.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was going to mention this earlier, but Vince brings it up. When Cash pulled Snell
That's what I
after
was thinking
5 in
of,
that
but I
playoff
couldn't I
game,
couldn't remember
oof.
Ian's
Yeah.
or Blake Snell's name. So yeah, thank you. There was a
Yeah.
couple of here like about Hagen Smith did have Tommy John before. He had it in high school. And then Baseball Toss asked about the Rule 5 next year. If the White Sox have the worst record in baseball this year, they will have the number 1 pick in the Rule 5 draft next year. So the Rule 5 just goes by record order of finish.
Yes. Here it is. I found them now.
Yeah.
I was too far up
Oh
in
yeah,
the
they're
comments.
all right there. Because then Trey had that one. Trey, if I did not answer, you can leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer better.
If I remember correctly, I think Hagen had TJ as a junior in high school,
yeah.
and then he pitched his senior year, I think, if I remember
so
correctly,
yeah.
before he went to Arkansas. Yeah, this Wolf brings up Vaughn's lack of discipline being a big letdown.
Me too, right? So I totally understand, like, that was like at the start of the college baseball, like insane bats like revolution, right? And he's facing Pac-12 pitching, and there were some times where it's like, this guy's like hitting out of these tiny little ballparks. But like I thought he was going to be like a 370 on base guy, right? So I kind of thought even if Vaughn was like a 22 home run guy at first base, it would be fine because his high on base percentage would like carry him, and he has been the opposite of that. Like he hasn't found a bad slider that he won't swing at.
Yeah. So Clutch says no Shane Smith, not Hagen Smith.
I believe he has. I think he did.
That's
at Wake
what
Forest.
he had at Wake, right? Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's what I thought. The Andrew Vaughn thing just absolutely drives me nuts. It's like the thing is that even when he squares up the ball, warning track power.
Right.
It's like he has to get very lucky, like to hit it over the wall. Even now that he started pulling the ball a little bit more, it's still not going over the fence.
Do you remember the night, like, God, it was probably his second year. I think he hit 2 bombs like at Rogers Center, and I'm like, oh my God, we've turned the corner. And then it was just like, no, it's like the same thing. Like it's just not. Look, I think this will be the end, right? I think it's kind of like, look, I know they did gave him one more chance thing. He was a first rounder. They paid him too much. Like Ryan Fuller's in the org. If he sucks this year, like this will be the end of it because there's no way they'll tender him again. I think at this point you hope that he goes on a heater and you can trade him for something. I just don't know why anybody would want to do that, honestly.
So Vince asked if Quintana was a Rule 5. He was from the Yankees, wasn't he? Or did we trade for him?
I think he was like a minor league free. It was weird. He was like,
yeah, it might have been.
He was like released, and then the Sox signed him to like a big league deal as a minor leaguer. It was really good scouting by the White Sox, but I don't think it was Rule 5.
Yep.
Rule 5 was like who's Dylan Covey was a Rule 5 pick that they had for years.
Yeah.
There was a few guys. I think one of the more famous ones was, I think Dallas Keuchel was for Houston.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a long time ago though.
James asked about updates on Mason Adams. He's had successful TJ surgery. I saw some pictures, nasty scar on his elbow, and he's got a little scar on his wrist from where they took the tendon to rebuild his elbow with. It's a little bit of pain here and there, but he's on the mend. So there's that. Drew Thorpe was supposed to have TJ this week. I haven't heard anything from the club though about whether it was successful or not. So who knows if he's still alive? I don't. So
Han used to do for every homestand. Han used to talk. I don't know if Getz does it and nobody's following and nobody's covering the team, or if he's not doing it. But maybe he'll talk before the A series.
Yeah, let's hope. I'd like to get them clarifications on those things. What do you think about Chase Meidroth and Brooks weekend this week?
Yeah, I think those two guys should play every day. I know it's the grinder wars or whatever, right? But great, that's fine. These guys know how to play. You can't have 9 of these dudes, but I think having 2 of them right now is fine. And look, Brooks Baldwin added strength. He's got more pop than you think he does. Like the fact that he can like stand in an outfield corner. And look, I know like today he misplayed a ball like on a really windy day, right? But you know, he's got enough pop to be more than just like a fifth infielder type, you know, like he's Brooks Baldwin's pretty good.
I mean, he's more competent than Oscar Colas was out there. He's more competent than Eloy Jimenez was out there. Uh, Probably just as competent as Avi Garcia was. I mean, he's going to
Andrew
misplay some balls.
Benintendi.
Yeah, he doesn't play. He's not solely an outfielder, so it's going to take him some time to get more comfortable out there. I think he's plenty fine out
Yeah.
there. I just don't. Yeah, I don't see him as an everyday guy out there,
No.
and that's not what he's here for.
No, but on
So
this team, he should be an everyday guy somewhere.
somewhere, yeah, I agree.
You know, because even like look like the Jake Amaya thing, like we've been like if they think Chase Meidroth might be able to play shortstop, then just play him there every day. Like I don't need to see like you have other guys that can play second. Just play Chase Meidroth at third, right? In a perfect world, Colson Montgomery goes on a heater and he's coming up to play short. Then Meidroth can move over, whatever. But until then, there's just no reason to play some of these other guys right now when you have other guys that you can play instead.
Yeah. Question here in the comments from Ben: Where/how long do you see Montgomery at each minor league level in 25 and 26? Obviously, it'll depend on
Yeah,
how well
it
he
depends quite
performs.
a bit. I mean, I think he finishes in Birmingham, and then I think he starts in Birmingham next year. And then from there, it depends like on how the team does, kind of, because he is a college guy. Like he should move kind of quickly, but he's in low A because he didn't play last year.
Yeah, I want to see each level personally. Yeah. You know, I want to see what happens. I mean, right now he's doing really well in Kannapolis. But to be fair, it doesn't seem like Lynchburg's pitching is really all that good, and that's mostly what you've seen him against. And that is the Guardians A ball team.
Right.
But they just did not. They got hit around pretty hard in the last couple of days. I think that uh, uh, we have to give him some time here to see what he
Yeah,
does.
we do, but you know, like what low A is now, right? Like, I kind of feel like Montgomery, Saki, and McLean, like if they're as good as we think, like should be in Winston, you know, not like next week, but fairly soon, and then we'll see from there.
Yeah, I think that there's obviously going to be varying timelines on these guys. Uh, I think Montgomery's going to move a lot faster than those other two guys
Mm-hmm.
by quite a bit. Just seeing where he's at right now and where the other two guys are at their, you know, hopefully what we hope is their skill level here. Right now, they seem like they're quite a bit behind where Braden Montgomery is, although he could just be that good. I guess we'll see. Chris is asking, and this is a big ask. Can we please stop? Can we have the hitters stop looking at strike three down the middle? I
Well,
used to watch Yohan Moncada do that all the time, and it drove me up a wall.
see, I always hated more though, like the guys who just like would go up there and swing at anything, right? Like the Luis Robert stuff drives me insane when it's just like three sliders and you're like, okay, like what are we what are we doing?
I think
Like,
he's done a better job so far this
he has
year
been
at that.
better. His peripherals are pretty good too, so he should like go on a heater here soon as long as it stays hot out.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where Robert goes here. I'm not entirely sure. Do you want to move on to this Luis Robert Nightengale thing?
Oh, probably because of who wrote it. Like,
We can go back to the
yeah,
minor
all the
league
minor
stuff. I mean,
stuff after,
there's a
yeah.
ton in the comments, and we could talk about this stuff. And I will answer this one just because I know that he asked a while back. Aldrin Batista. I don't have an update at this point. I just know that it's something that was arm related. I just don't know how serious it is, and until I get an answer, I don't really have anything for you.
Yeah, he's on the IL. That's kind of all we know, really.
Yep. So Nightengale said that the White Sox and Dodgers have tabled talks,
Right.
but
So
that
that
they
means
were
like that
talking.
means on hold or suspended, right? Table doesn't mean over.
Yeah, but here's here's what they said. Nightingale says it's for James Outman and a high level prospect.
Right.
And as soon as you texted me about this, because I hadn't seen it yet, and you told me what that return was, I was like, absolutely not.
So
But where are
James
you
Outman's
at?
older than Luis Robert is, and bad.
And not
So
good.
so like I think there's a chance the White Sox could get James Outman on waivers in a few weeks if they like him. You know,
Possibly.
he's at AAA Oklahoma City for them, and he's like not gonna be back on their big league team anytime soon. Like if he look if it's like Josue De Paula, right, who was like one of the headliners talked about in the crochet talks, and like a couple of super young guys that like are very highly regarded, like, and you just take James Altman back too because you want to see. Okay, fine, right? But the deal can't be like James Outman and something. Like he can't be part of like the brunt of and this is what I'll say, right? I had heard at the end of spring training that a couple of teams had gotten more aggressive with the White Sox um, on Luis Robert. Um, I don't know who the teams are, but I didn't think it was Dodgers. Um, the White Sox do this all the time, especially with Bob, right? Whenever stuff gets put out there, like it usually doesn't happen. And it's usually done because they're talking to like other teams. So who could they be trying to press right now? Like, hey, like we might trade him to the Dodgers for this terrible package if you guys don't get serious. I think that's all it is. Um, like look, I know a lot of people think Chris Getz is an idiot, and look, like some of these trades don't look great, man. Like they, like I've tried to defend him, but some of them don't look that good. I don't think they're gonna trade him for something super underwhelming right now, just because it like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't that doesn't benefit them at all. And this return on this trade, to me, does not benefit the White Sox at all. I mean, obviously, getting a Josue, Josue De Paula, if that's how you pronounce his
Yeah, I
name,
think so.
like that's great. But if that's all you're getting, like
Right,
and
it's like a one for
if you're getting Outman, that's all you're getting is De Paula.
well, because
Like
I was
Outman's
kind
no
of
great shakes.
well, and Bruce Levine has said it over and over again. They're looking for 3 prospects and like 2 really good ones, right? Like I think they're looking for something similar to like the Crochet return with like a worse third player than Meidroth type of thing, where it's like 2 top 10 system prospects, probably 1 top 100, and then a third piece who you think is interesting type of thing, and they probably do it. But I don't think they've even like had that. Like I just think that they just I don't know. I don't think this happens. I thought it was interesting that it was like in the news. Um but I mean they've already taken one Dodgers cast off that everybody hates. Like they don't need another one right now. Mm.
Imagine. So one thing that we had talked about is that the White Sox might be kind of planting this rumor with Nightengale to try and drive some other team to get a little bit more serious. Wolf brings up the Reds just got to 500. Maybe they'll take another look. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I still think it's Philly. I think this has Dave Dombrowski all over it.
Mm.
I think he would be perfect there. He's the type of guy that like isn't gonna shy away from just giving you a couple of kids because he'll just get a couple more. When I saw that it was Dodgers, I was like, "Ooh, is it somebody in the NL West?" Like I hate the Giants system, um, so like it could be them. He'd be useful there too. But yeah, right away, like I think the Dodgers are the big bad wolf, right? So I think them being mentioned is kind of like a hey, National League teams, like if you want this guy, like you better come get him because like we'll just trade him to the Dodgers because we've made bad, stupid trades with them before and we'll do it again. So don't tempt us. No, but I think that's probably all it is at this point.
I just want to bring this up here.
Yeah, that would be great.
Baseball Toss says, I want hope. Well, you
I
have
think
come
he
to the
means,
right place
I think he means
because
Zaire Hope, right? Yeah,
we deal in dreams and hope here at
yeah,
FutureSox. And
yes, we
I
do.
just want to say that you have come to the right place, pal.
Yes, yes,
I would assume he does mean Zaire Hope,
Zaire
but
Hope.
hey,
Yeah. Well,
um,
I've been inflating prospect value for decades on the internet, so
yes, it's true. Um, I, I'm not going to say, I'm just going to say, you know, decades, of just giving unfair prospect analysis and
Yeah,
all that stuff. Shame on you.
I know. I said that Brooks Baldwin was going to be a big leaguer.
Yeah.
Where are those tweets? No, I'm just kidding. I don't care, but it's fine. Like,
Yeah, we know how that goes. It's kind of one of those things, like you get called out on bad takes, but nobody ever brings up the
yeah.
good takes.
Why did how did James Outman hit 27 homers in the big leagues in one season?
Yeah, I don't know. He went on a tear. I remember, but then the thing was is that never to be heard from again. Like he couldn't hit anymore. So I don't know whether it's just
Like he's not even good at AAA. Like he's bad.
yeah, he is bad. If you can't hit in the PCL and you were halfway decent in the major
Yeah.
leagues, like there's no excuse there.
Well, maybe the White Sox have identified the same you know, swing issues that they identified with Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we'll find out what happens with Miguel Vargas because we're not going to stop seeing him anytime
Oh
soon.
no, he's on the team. Like, and I do think me and Ian talked a little bit off air about this. Like I think the swing decisions are pretty good. Like I understand like how he got on. He just like doesn't make good contact with the baseball. Like I don't, like there was like that graphic this week that showed that the White Sox were number 1 in baseball, right, in swing decisions and O zone rating, right? But they just have so many bad players that it like doesn't matter that they are like making the right decisions. Now, you hire a Ryan Fuller so that when you do have good players, like you're good, right? But I mean, swing decisions do not a good team make, right? Like it's just kind of like, oh boy, like this is not great.
Sadly, this is true. But also, if you look back at the Orioles now, a bunch of their top prospects are all struggling. There's only like 2 guys that are really hitting on that team, or 3 guys on that team that are really hitting, and one of them wasn't one of those top prospects at any point. So, uh, it just proves the point that baseball is indeed hard, and not all these guys, even if they are hyped up top prospects, are ever going to turn into that guy that you think that they're going to be. Because everybody was thinking that it was a foregone conclusion that like 6 out of the 9 guys in the Orioles lineup were going to be all stars.
Oh yeah, it doesn't work that way. Kobe Mayo is what in AAA for his 3rd straight season, and they wouldn't trade him for Dylan Cease. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like the White Sox, prospect guys, we got criticized for not wanting to give away our guys, at certain points for something else. And I mean, it goes both ways for all these teams. It seems like everybody that wants to hold on to like their big prospects, maybe Dave Dombrowski's onto something here where he's fine just giving away all the top
Well,
prospects and
yeah,
it's
that's
just
what I
going to
mean. Like,
work.
I always tell people that, like, we do this, and like, I clearly love prospects, right? You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait until we can trade a really good one to win a World Series. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if we can give that away here.
That's what I
Trey
mean. Like,
says,
I'd love to trade a top prospect to, you know, get a finishing piece on a World Series team.
yeah, unfortunately, we need to get those
That's true.
cornerstone
We need a
pieces
lot more
first.
prospects. Yes.
Yeah. But on the good side of things, we did have notes from Merck this week, and that Ryan Fuller was going down to Jacksonville to go meet with the Charlotte team. One of the White Sox top prospects has been mightily struggling
Yeah.
so far this year. He's got an over 50% K rate. I think he's got 26 Ks and 49 ABs.
Yes.
He did hit a home run today, and he did have a multi-hit game. Although I will maintain this, that I still don't like his approach. Even though he had a multi-hit game today with a rocket single and a home run, I still don't like his approach because his single that he hit was an outside and low pitch that he still insisted on pulling, and it drives me up a wall.
Yeah. I
But
mean, did
yeah,
you hear what I mean, Getz is like they're going down with the ship, that's for sure. Like this is, we haven't stopped I mean, that's what they're supposed to say, right? But it's one of those things where like Mike Shirley is a huge believer in Colson Montgomery, and Chris Getz is a huge believer in Mike Shirley. So we're gonna see, like if this kid goes on a few week heater, he's coming to the big leagues. They're not gonna risk like him tail spinning again in Charlotte and then they can never bring him up. I just kind of think this is the start of, if it's better, we're going to see him instead of Jacob Amaya. And then, if he struggles in the big leagues, then at least it's, well, this guy sucks in the big leagues instead of he sucks in AAA.
yeah. I don't I don't think that the talent's not there. The talent is definitely
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I think it's just a matter of them being able to harness and point, like kind of point him in the right direction to where he is mechanically doing the correct things. Because Williams says that Colson is sulking, but while he might be sulking, the problem is not him sulking. The problem is him trying to yank the ball to right field every single time he swings his bat. That is the
Yeah.
problem.
And apparently it hasn't affected his defense and he's like fine in the and I just think he doesn't know what he wants to be. Like it's like, does he want to be a power hitting shortstop or like I don't know because it's tough. Like he does a lot of the looking at strikes thing, like waiting for the perfect pitch and like that. Like I love the plate discipline in the low minors, right? But now it's like you almost want him to be a little bit more aggressive. But when he's aggressive, he's trying to swing out of his shoes to right field, right? So
That is indeed the
there's got to
problem.
be a happy medium in there somewhere. And I don't know if he probably doesn't have access to the traject, obviously, right? That like some of these other guys do. I think it's in Chicago, right? Yeah. So I mean, look, maybe I don't know. I like that they've identified like, instead of having like some hitting coach feed him Ryan Fuller's message, like Ryan Fuller just goes, feeds him his own message, like, hey, what is wrong with you? Like, we need you type of thing. Like, we're gonna like get this right. Um, did Brian Ramos play today in Charlotte?
Nope.
No. So he's there, but he hasn't played yet
He has yet, yeah, he has yet to
because he was activated and then optioned.
right. Has yet to show up.
So Tuesday then is my
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, they were on the road too, right? So that doesn't really, he's probably just going to Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the what the hopefully his wrist or whatever it is that he's having issues with. Hopefully everything is on the level, and then we're good, and he can
Yeah.
continue to play here, and we'll see what happens.
Trey asked about Christian Opper. Now you're
He
speaking
did.
my language, Trey. He's like one of my favorite under the radar guys in the system. I really wanted to rank him, but I think it's something where me and Ian are a little bit similar on. It's like really tough and a good system for me to rank guys that like we haven't even seen on video like since high school. Like it's just like he was pitching in Arizona. I heard from people that like the stuff was loud. Like, it's like the same thing as reading a scouting report. But so he was like a Wisconsin prep lefty that they really liked. And I think everybody that listens to us probably knows by now they were going to take him with an 11th rounder the year they took Jacob Burke. The A's took him instead and like didn't have a deal with him. So he didn't sign, which was really stupid. And then he went to community college for a year. The Sox popped him in the second round for $550K. So they really like him. Him and Luis Reyes together in low A's, pretty interesting. Two guys who could be definitely on the top 30 at midseason, especially with like all the pitching injuries. Like they could, move up just like prospect rankings pretty quickly. There's a lot of like reliever volatility in Opper because there's command issues, but the stuff is really, really good.
Yeah, see that this is one thing that I wanted to bring up about the Opper start, and obviously, the numbers were eye popping with 10Ks looking absolutely fantastic. My main takeaway though was that for the first 3 innings where he was popping 96, 97 miles an hour, and then throwing his changeup and having like a 16, 17 mile an hour different, a velo differential in between those pitches, and then still having the nasty slider, that was awesome. But as he went through his start and he got to like the third, like halfway through the third inning, fourth inning, you could see the gas start to run out, and he was relying more on his sweeper than he was on his fastball because he didn't have that velo anymore. So that's one thing that I would say that we have to watch. I don't know like what his like how deep he's going to be able to go into games, like where that's all going to go. We'll see. There we go.
Shots are getting fired in the comments tonight.
Dang it, Uncle Ted says Vargas still sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
it is what it is. I recall seeing some nasty Tanner McDougal stuff this week too. Again.
yeah, very good. I think he only had 6 strikeouts in his start, but he didn't walk anybody, and his stuff was just gross.
He looked
like his
ridiculous. Yeah.
He's one of my guys. He's been one of my guys since we drafted him, and
he's still only like 21 years old too somehow.
Yeah, he's not old. I think he's a little bit older than that. Probably 22 maybe. But whatever. His stuff is just absolutely gross. He's almost hitting 100 on his fastball, and his curveball, his slider, both just absolutely nasty. Going to continue to work on that changeup. Well, if he can manage to keep his mechanics in line and keep his command good, he's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and it might be in relief, but like his stuff is so good. Like the fact that they name dropped him, I always think that's interesting when like the director of pitching is name dropping like 3-year system guys that are in Winston, right? That are just kind of, we might like a guy that some of us might have like forgotten existed, right? And they're like, oh, Tanner McDougal could be awesome as a closer. It's just something to keep an eye on, basically.
He could, and actually, one of our listeners here, James Hesterman, alerted me to the fact that Josh Barfield was on the game in an interview, and he had mentioned Grant Taylor as a
I
closer.
heard it. Yeah, it's like, can we stop with this? Like,
seriously, like, what are we doing here?
So here's the thing. I do think I've heard from multiple people that Grant Taylor likely finishes his season like in Chicago because it's like something they've talked to the agent about where they just like kind of want to, and like that would likely be in the bullpen. But I think it's after he throws like 80 innings or so as a start, or whatever. Like, right, he's at 70 innings or whatever they're comfortable with, and then he's up in the big leagues in September, like throwing out of the bullpen, and then, then he's going to spring training next year, like competing for a rotation spot, like with the White Sox. And if it doesn't work and he's out of the bullpen, that's fine. But like doing the whole like he's a closer thing is just dumb and doesn't make any sense. And I hope that, Josh Barfield doesn't want him to be the closer,
When I heard that and made it sound, I mean, it kind of sounded like, oh yeah, he's going to be a bullpen guy. And I was like, no, this is not how we do this. He starts until he absolutely can. I mean, he's way too good to immediately pigeonhole into being a reliever, knowing that he's a starter.
Trey, I was kind of hoping that Josh Barfield's worst decision was going to be Dominic Fletcher. So I think moving Taylor to the bullpen would be worse.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see here. Spencer Jones crushing with a 1,034 OPS. Well, that's great, Uncle Ted. I don't care.
In what, high A?
I think he's in AAA.
20. Is he in AAA?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I still don't like his swing. Still don't like his I don't like him. He needs to. I don't want to hear about him anymore.
Did you watch the White Sox big league game today?
I only watched bits and pieces because I wasn't, knee deep in 4 games.
So Cam Booster was disgusting today. Like just filthy for like 1 inning. I was like, oh my goodness. And he was pitching against the Red Sox, and I think Steve Stone he's like, well, you like throwing against your former team. Like, I mean, he was so good. Like, if he throws like that, you're gonna get something for him because like he's, he looked like one of these, like, he kind of looked like Tanner Scott. It's like, Jesus, like, like, this is ridiculous. So I understand what they were targeting when they traded for him.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah, I did not see his inning today. That one I missed. I think I missed like 2 innings where I didn't see anything that was going on, and one of them, of course, is when Chase Meidroth broke up the no.
Yeah, so I watched, yeah, a lot of that. Shane Smith was pretty good. Clevenger was pretty good. Booster was pretty good. They brought in Gilbert to get one out. So Sox they showed a graphic on the broadcast that they were like 5th in the league in bullpen ERA. So pitching has not been the issue.
No, 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 and this is the thing. We said the staff was going to be pretty good. Who scores the runs? Who drives the runs in?
Right.
That's been the issue for like close to 4 years now, for crying
Well, the
out loud.
funny thing is too, the 2 guys who I feel the worst about are Burke and Cannon, and they were like the prospects who are the 1 and 2 starters technically, right? But Perez looks like the best version of himself, and Shane Smith is interesting, and we both think Davis Martin's good. So, that's just pretty interesting. He's been good. He's
Mark
9. I think
Vassal.
he's 9 scoreless. I think,
Yep,
and
not
that's a
bad.
and that's a Rule 5 pick that you're going to have to keep. I mean, I think he's probably a long man type, or comes in and gets you a couple innings at a time. But yeah, I mean, his stuff looked pretty good. The other thing that was, I mean, that's the thing. Like look, I think we've pointed out their misses, right? But there's been some waiver wire hits. I mean, you talked about who's White, right, from Texas,
Owen
or
White.
they
Yeah,
got him from the. I mean, that's a guy you should have no business getting on waivers.
yeah. I still don't understand how do the Rangers trade him for cash, which it's not like they have this treasure trove of pitching. I mean, I understand that they had Leiter and they have Kumar Rocker and they have a couple of guys. Like, I get that. But how do you just let a guy like Owen White walk without, for minimal cash? And then the Reds try and pass him through waivers. The Yankees grab him. Then the Yankees try and pass him through waivers. And then we get him. And, he's pitching for Charlotte and he looks pretty fantastic. I mean, today he 5 shutout innings.
Yeah,
I mean, his last start, I believe he only gave up 1 run or something. Like, what is he? How does he make it to the
yeah.
Charlotte Knights?
Well, so at this point, like, I mean, he's on the 40 man, right? Somebody gets a blister, right, and misses a start. It's him, right? Like, isn't he getting a big league start probably?
I don't see why not. This is the kind of guy that you could bring up to the major leagues and not necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to come up to the major leagues and he's going to turn into what we're looking at with Shane Smith. Like, I'm not saying that, but he could at least be a competent guy, like a swing man or, like a spot start guy for sure.
I mean, he was a former second round prep pick, so he's only like 25 still. Um, maybe, right? I mean, I was kind of like I don't know that he's worse than Jonathan Cannon is. Like,
That's
like, I
yeah.
just, like,
He's more in
they're
the
just
zone.
similar.
Yeah, he's better. He's better working in the zone than Jonathan Cannon has been. Like, he lives in the strike zone. He might get hit, but there hasn't been a whole lot of hard contact on him. And this week, he pitched against the number 1 offense and number 1 pitching in the International League, in the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, and he shut him down more or less. I mean, the bullpen ended up blowing it both times, but you know,
Yeah,
I would rather have him than Dunning.
yeah. Well, Dunning's starting for them, right? AAA Round Rock or whatever. I don't know what's the Texas affiliate. I don't know, but that's where he's at, I think.
Yeah, it should be Round Rock, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, so I don't know. What else do you want to get into? I think we've answered a bunch of questions. The big league team is 4-11. Oakland's coming in. I'm not super worried about, like, you know, oh, they need to finish bottom 5 or whatever. Like, I think that type of stuff takes care of itself. I think there's some interesting stuff like going on with the big league team, like despite having a horrible offense. I mean, the fact that they are just they miss, guys like Mike Talkman and Josh Rojas so badly. Like, if you just had like those professional fringe hitters in your lineup, right? And even like if Brendan Drury was on this team with the pitching that you have, like, yeah, you'd win occasionally. But some of the guys that you have to play, it's just not really like I you watch minor league baseball, and I know a lot of players and whatever. I don't know who Joshua Palacios is. Like
I did see a
I
question
don't know
asking why he got an at bat, and I cannot answer that.
like
He wasn't good.
I don't know and I know, look, he's totally like, some people ask like, oh, why isn't that Dominic Fletcher, right? Well, so you sign Joshua Palacios to a minor league deal after the Pirates cut him, because if you get an injury, you can play him, and then as soon as the guy comes back, you can just DFA him and outright him, and he doesn't matter, right? He's at no risk. Like, if somebody else wants him, then they can just take him, and he'll be on the Sporkle quiz, right? And he like doesn't matter. But this is kind of where they are. It's why you don't add Kyle Teel or Edgar Caro yet. If Corey Lee isn't a long-term thing, like, you just go to Omar Narvaez. It's yeah.
Yeah. So Wolf asks how long is Slater out? A torn meniscus, right? So it should be like
Yeah,
8
like,
to 12.
it depends. I mean, like, sometimes you can just like snip it off and like you're back sooner, but like, you're a professional athlete, so a lot of times you don't want to do that. Like, I think like regular people could. Like, I could tear my meniscus, cut the cord thing, and it's like really not that serious, right? And then I could like teach like 3 days later. But athletes don't do that because of like the arthritis that it causes, essentially, like, if you do it that way. So that's why you do kind of want, I mean, it's as minor of a knee thing as you can have, but I mean, yeah, it's at least like a month probably.
Yeah, it has to be. At least has to be 4 to 6 weeks at least.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, it's a 10-day DL stint, and then Brandon or Drury signed, which tells me he's at least in Arizona swinging. I don't know that for a fact, but my guess is like you don't sign him until he's in the ramp up phase.
Yeah, I mean he's been out for what 4 weeks at this point,
Yeah,
because I think it was like 2 weeks left in
it's a
spring,
broken
and then we're
hand, right?
yeah, so it should be 4 weeks until
Yeah.
he's like taking swings. So
Yeah, and then he'll be up and playing against, at least against lefties, like, all the time.
now here's my question, and this is why I brought that up is where do you think he plays?
Well, I would have said he plays second coming into the
Right,
year.
but
I
with
think
my
the guy
drought here,
Yeah, I think the guy that was in jeopardy with him was Linian Sosa. Um,
what
Now
about
maybe,
Vargas though?
well, so maybe he gets DH at bat. Like, would they sit Vaughn? I mean, is he your first base
I mean,
DH, like, against lefty?
you
Like,
could DH Vaughn and then put Sosa at first if you wanted to. I mean, you've
right.
seen him at first. He plays a decent first,
And
and he's taller than Vaughn is.
one of the things they've been doing is they've been playing Taylor in the outfield and DHing an outfielder. I think what you could do is you could make Michael Taylor like a true bench player, defensive sub, let Drury DH or play left field, and then Benintendi could just play the outfield when he returns instead of DHing. Because sometimes in Benintendi starts, they'd play 3 outfielders and then they'd let Benintendi DH. In theory, you could just play Benintendi in left and then Drury's your DH. But I mean, yeah, these guys are gonna. I mean, like, where's Josh Rojas gonna play? I mean, Meidroth's more important now. Baldwin's more important, and so yeah. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I mean, it does seem like the best guys are gonna play. I don't know what that does to the roster though. But yeah, there's some expendable pieces here. I mean, like, Nick Maton will be gone, Palacios will be gone, Amaya will be gone, and then it'll be more of like the team that you thought you were gonna have.
So here's a question. So now you got Slater that's going to be out for probably a month and a half. Talkman, that
Hamstring,
that
man.
that play with the hamstring coming
Yeah.
around third,
That like
that
sums up
was
the last 2
sad,
seasons
sad
of White Sox
stuff.
baseball.
Oh my gosh, that was just painful to watch. So you've lost your platoon that you
Yeah.
were
Yes.
originally slating on having in right field. So um, I feel like a bunch of these situations that we had planned on having available for for this season,
Yeah.
trying to piece together a lineup coming into the season, like a bunch of that stuff's gone.
Yeah, it was
So
all shattered. Yeah. So I mean, like Slater, I think best is a bench bat that starts against every lefty you play. He should never face righties. I don't think they were gonna let him. But like, um, who am I thinking? Talkman could play against both. I mean, Talkman was pretty good against both last year. So I think the guy who shouldn't play against lefties has been Intendi, but they've been playing him against everybody.
well, I mean, he was hitting when he
He
was
was, yeah,
healthy. So, so to answer your question, Uncle Ted, yes, Baldwin can run. I wouldn't say that he's a burner, but
yeah,
he
average
does
speed,
have decent
yeah,
speed for for what you would expect anyway.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Baldwin's been kind of what I thought he'd be. Um, Moved through the minors like really quickly. So Colas, yeah, dude,
Not
he
gonna happen,
he can't
Jack.
even play in the Southern League.
Oh my gosh. If you follow me on Twitter, just go through my timeline from yesterday. You'll see the Colas tweet. He's
When Ian's
never
tweeting from
coming
his
back up.
personal account, some stuff happened.
Ugh,
Like
man.
it's like, oh man,
I mean, I
it's
don't do it. Like if I'm gonna say something about somebody, I generally don't do it on FutureSox account just because I
yeah,
don't.
it's
But
fine. Yeah.
good lord, man.
Do you
Like,
do you think Chris Getz like secretly was hoping somebody claimed him on waivers?
I bet you,
Like he's like,
but the
it's like, oh, we get to outright him now. Damn it! Like it's like I still gotta look at this guy
yeah, the guy is I
because they don't
like
want to
I
release him because of the rules, right? You get outrighted, you're back in the system for nothing. Like whatever, fine, right? But it's like,
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to see him back with the White Sox ever again. And to be honest, I would be shocked if you even saw him in Charlotte again because they have 15 outfielders. It feels
yeah.
like, and unless somebody dies, there's no way he's going back there.
Yeah. And trust me here, like I don't like, a lot of you guys have seen me in person. Like I I don't want to be like the fat shaming guy, but like dude, like Omar Narvaez like is like a lot bigger than he was the last time I saw him. I didn't know if that was like Alabama barbecue over the last 2 weeks or if this has like kind of been a thing, but I'm like, "Oh man, like he can still really catch." But he's pretty he's pretty large though.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring this up here just for one last
Thoughts.
time.
Thoughts on Tim
So
Elko.
so my thoughts on Tim Elko. If I am talking about Andrew Vaughn, my thinking on Tim Elko is there is a possibility that it could be 100% a wash on offense. And you are looking at a guy who's going to bat 240, 250, something like that in the majors. My main thing here is he's probably going to be way more consistent than Andrew Vaughn is. He's not going to hit 160 for most of the season and then have 1 month where he hits like 600 to redeem himself or to redeem his numbers. He'll be more complete throughout the whole year. Now, will you see a high strikeout rate? Probably. I mean, it's going to be a little bit higher than you want it to be. It'll be a little bit higher than Vaughn's. But in exchange, you get a little bit more impact of the baseball and you get better defense. That's
Yeah.
my thoughts on Tim Elko.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are that like look, I've never been a huge Elko guy where I'm like, "Oh my god, he's a prospect," right? Now I think he plays in the big leagues. I think he should probably and he should get like an opportunity. It's just, right first baseman that strike out and don't walk a ton. It's tough, right? But like when the alternative is what the alternative like I think Tim Elko understands the assignment. Go to the big leagues and it's your job to drive in runs and hit homers, right? And if that comes with a 235 average, like at least you have the homers to fall back on as a first baseman. But, your current first baseman just like does nothing. Like he has like a big single every once in a while and it's just like okay, like it's not happening, for any,
But he's hitting line drives.
Yeah,
right
I
at
feel like
outfielders.
it's like in Mean Girls, right? It's like stop. They're trying to make fetch happen. Stop trying to make Andrew Vaughn happen.
Yep. That's pretty much where I'm at. So just real quick, I see Uncle Ted's bringing up Riku Nishida. Riku Nishida went pretty bonkers today.
He's
Had
got like a
a
9,000 OPS, and he still like doesn't hit for any power.
yeah, let me look here. He's
Like,
got a
yeah,
944 OPS. He's hitting 375 with a 500 slug.
yeah.
Riku Nishida has a 500 slug.
Is it
Send him to the
doubles and
majors
triples
right
or what?
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He did almost rip off a umpire's leg today with a foul bunt.
All right.
But he had a couple stolen bases, and he's hitting the ball, and he's doing Riku Nishida things, like slapping the ball all over the place and just using openings to get on base, and
Yeah.
it's working. And Bergoya today went 4 for 5
I saw
with
that.
a walk. I mean,
My favorite thing about Riku Nishida is that he used wood bats in college baseball games. It's hilarious. Like he would go into the on deck circle with an aluminum bat and a wood bat and just decide, and like all these other dudes are like swinging these like metal tanks, and he goes up there with wood and then gets on base anyway. Like, because it's just like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, at that point, like, because you're not looking for the 120 exit velo. You're not looking to hit the ball 450 feet. So do you really need a BB core bat if you're
No,
just
no,
trying
no.
to,
No, but if everybody else is using one, I'm gonna try to hit one out.
well, I mean, he hit a couple,
Yeah, I know.
like he hit
Yeah.
one in Kannapolis last year. I mean, granted, I think it hit the top of the wall,
He can hit him
but
out of
he
the
hit
rate.
one.
I want to see him in Charlotte. What does he do in the Queen City?
I mean, see, the problem with him is that he goes to opposite field a
He does
lot.
too much.
And
Yeah.
I don't think he'd hit an
You
opposite
can't
field
get him.
home run.
You can't get him out that way. No,
I mean,
that's
he
true.
pulled his one Kannapolis, his one Ballers home run. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he can do it. I don't know.
What if
We'll
Colson
see.
Montgomery had his approach? Like,
Oh, Colson would have been up here last year if he had
Riku Nishida's
absolutely,
approach at the plate. Yeah.
absolutely. And like the thing is that it's a thing. It's the same thing that I feel. I saw this question earlier in the show here asking about what's up with Wilco, and it's the same thing. It's like yesterday. His first his at bats when they were trailing, he goes to left center field and he gets 2 hits in a row. And they're up big, like the game's not close. And what's he go back to doing? Trying to murder the ball over the right field wall. It's like if you can just stay through the baseball and hit it to center field, you're going to start moving. Like, why do we insist on like just saying? It's just one of those things that just drives me up the wall.
So how delayed are we this week because of all the doubleheaders? Have you looked at it yet? So we got Schultz.
I think they're all cut up.
Schultz and Smith were both Saturday.
Oh,
and you had I just mean like so you had Gowans today, right? So you'll have Wickelman Tuesday, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And then it should be back
and
to
then it'll be
Taylor Wednesday.
Yeah. So
So
Wickelman will have 2 starts next week.
So Taylor will be on 4 days, or did he pitch Friday? I think he pitched Friday, so they might not be able to because Taylor was pushed all the way to Friday. So they're like screwed up. No, he could go Wednesday.
He'll go on Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. So he's good. So he's good to go Wednesday. Schultz Thursday, Smith Friday, and then Wickelman will pitch twice next week. All right.
Yeah, I think it. I don't think they're. They caught up on. They caught up today from yesterday. Or they caught up yesterday from all the rainouts during this week.
Right.
They made the. I'm trying to think. Who was it? The Dash. No, the Barons rained out on Wednesday, and they made up their game on yesterday. So,
all right, yeah, so that's good. So we're good. All right, I'm glad we went an hour and 5 minutes and did not have to talk about Jairo Iriarte, so that's good.
Oh man, why'd you bring him up? You bring him up now
because we're done. I'm not talking about him.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of things that probably, again, it's still like a week and a half into the season here, or what, 3 weeks into the season for the Knights. So that one we're gonna have to address that at some point here. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yep. I'll let Elijah and Dylan do it if they want. That's fine.
Yes, indeed. All right. You ready for me to
All
walk
good.
it out? All right. You have been watching / listening to the Future Sox podcast. If you are listening to this in podcast form, know that you can find us every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and the Purple app. You can also find this podcast along with all of our written content at FutureSox.net. If you are looking for White Sox prospect highlights, you can find them on X at FutureSox and now also here on our YouTube channel. If you love the content and want to support us here at FutureSox, there is a link to our Patreon in our channel description and at FutureSox.net. You can also toss up a super chat on our YouTube stream. Also, don't forget to like this stream and subscribe with notifications so you know when we're going live while helping us in the World Wide Web algorithms. My name is Ian Eskridge at Daily White Sox. He's James Fox at JamesFox917. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for coming and hanging out tonight, guys. We appreciate all of you guys. You guys drive the conversation. We appreciate it. You guys have a great one. We will talk to you guys next Sunday. Thanks. Have a great night.